Hi guys. Welcome back to our channel. Once again we will be talking about more fascinating facts from around the globe, so please sit back and enjoy the video. For 3 years, a glittery 17-pound rock, that a 12-year-old boy named Conrad found on his family's farm, had served as a doorstop at the Reed house. Conrad's father, John, finally decided to take the stone to a jeweler in 1802, only to learn that his son's find was actually a giant 17-pound gold nugget. In today's dollars, the stone was worth more than $517,000. The Xray was accidentally discovered in 1895 by a German professor named Wilhelm Röntgen. Röntgen was awarded the very first Nobel Prize in Physics in 1901. The X in Xray translates to unknown beam or ray in German. Bubble wrap was invented by 2 engineers, Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavon in 1957. Who originally set out to create textured wallpaper, but today is one of the most effective forms of protective packaging instead. Did you know the most people ever crammed into a classic Mini is 27? It was achieved on May 18, 2014 by Danny and the Miniskirts as part of the London to Brighton Mini Run. The average speed that a cruise ship travels is between 23 to 35 miles an hour, and all cruise ships have a morgue and a jail on board. You can't bring an iron or steamer on board and the internet is not free. Believe it or not, your lips don't sweat. And they have more than 1 million different nerve endings, which makes them 100 times more sensitive than our fingertips. Have you ever noticed casinos and supermarkets don't have any clocks? That's because they want you to lose track of time, so you stay longer and are more likely to spend more money. Yawning is considered a sign of boredom or tiredness, but experts say the most likely reason is that either too little carbon dioxide, CO2, or too much oxygen, O2, produce a yawn to restore the balance. Believe it or not, most of Earth's water is stored up in ice and snow. The present Antarctic ice sheets on average are 2,160 meters thick, making Antarctica the highest continent, and accounts for 90% of Earth's total ice volume, and around 70% of the planet's fresh water. Scientists suggested that the ozone layer would collapse by 2050, because of the damage caused by aerosol sprays and coolant CFCs. But because a worldwide ban on CFCs back in 1987. Now say Earth's protective ozone layer is finally healing from damage caused by CFCs. Surprisingly, it's estimated that beavers cause $100 million worth of property damage each year, and can live 10 to 12 years. The oldest on record lived 30 years with human care. In the Wild West, the average cowboy was 16 to 30 years old. And he was paid very little money, about $1 a day. To cure their whiskey hangovers, the cowboys would boil rabbit's poop into a tea and drink it. Polar bears can weigh more than 1,300 pounds and span more than 8 feet, 6 inches. They are the largest carnivores to currently walk the earth. A 2017 study found that during the past 144 years, there have only been 20 fatal polar bear attacks. Was you aware? When the caffeine taken out of coffee beans and tea is then sold to pharmaceutical and beverage companies that mix the caffeine into their products. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States who fought for the freedom of slaves and the Union, he was a licensed bartender. Lincoln's liquor license was discovered in 1930. In the 18th century, pigeon poop was used to make gunpowder, so King George I of England declared all pigeon droppings property of the Crown. A Harvard University study found that your odds of crashing in a plane are 1 in 1.2 million, and the odds of dying from a plane crash are 1 in 11 million. But your chances of dying in a car accident is 5,000 to 1. It's said there's around 20 million tons of gold throughout the oceans of the world. So there's enough gold for each of us to have 9 pounds each. Believe it or not, but if you keep a goldfish in a dark room, it will eventually turn white. Named after the humming noise their wings make in flight, the hummingbird is the smallest bird, and the only bird that can fly backwards in the world. Measuring 7.5 to 13 centimeters in length, it's lighter than a 1 dime in weight, and their lifespan is 3 to 5 years. The American people consume over 2 billion cookies a year, that is about 300 cookies for each person. So the average American can eat up to 35,000 cookies in their lifetime. Pandas have 6 fingers. and must eat 12 to 38 kilograms of food every day to meet their energy needs. They poop every 15 to 20 minutes. Giant pandas do not need to hibernate. On June 4, 1923, a jockey named Jockey Frank Hayes, who was only 22 years old, suffered a fatal heart attack while riding his horse called Sweet Kiss in a race at Belmont Park in New York City, but his horse finished and won the race, making him the first and only jockey to win a race after death. In 1867, the oldest unopened 1.5-liter bottle of wine was found in a Roman tomb that was over 1,650 years old. An average sumo wrestler is about 185 centimeters tall and weighs around 150 kilos. Sumo wrestling originated about 1,500 years ago. Their life expectancy is 20 years shorter than the average Japanese man. People tamed wild horses about 4,000 years ago. Horses can run up to 50 miles per hour for short periods of time. The average horse lifespan is 25 to 30 years. And the oldest horse on record was called Old Billy, who died on November 27, 1822, aged 62 years. Death Valley holds the record for the world's highest surface air temperature ever recorded, an unbelievable 134 degrees Fahrenheit recorded at Greenland Ranch on July 10, 1913. Sea otters learn to swim at 4 weeks of age. And their fur is the densest of any mammal at about 1 million hairs per square inch. Otters usually weigh 22 to 45 kilograms, that's 49 to 99 pounds. Wild sea otters spend most of their lives at sea, and usually have a lifespan between 15 and 20 years. The Eiffel Tower is one of the world's most recognizable landmarks. It was built by just 300 workers, who completed the tower in record time, taking just over 26 months of construction time to complete it. Sadly, one worker died during the making of the tower, but, thanks to the extensive use of guardrails and safety screens, no one else was killed. Jellyfish are over 600 million years old. They was here before the dinosaurs, trees, and even fungi. Jellyfish have no brain, heart, bones or eyes. And one species of jellyfish may even be immortal. While there is some oxygen on Mars, it is not very much and definitely not enough to live. And without a protective suit, you would have difficulty in breathing and die of hypoxia within minutes. Did you know octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood? They can walk as well as swim. And being boneless, they are able to squeeze in and out of tight spaces. They can also regrow a lost arm. Believe it or not, astronauts are drinking their own pee in space. On space stations, there's a system that recycles urine to purify it back to drinking water again, providing 80% of the water the astronauts use aboard the space stations. Spider webs are super strong. Scientists say spider silk is one of the strongest materials on Earth, and 5 times stronger than steel. It's able to support up to 350 times its weight. They say a single strand of spider silk can hold up to 0.5 ounces, that's 14 grams of weight. Zimbabwe experienced hyperinflation that peaked in 2008. At the peak, a single US dollar was worth 2.6 billion Zimbabwe dollars. So if you had just a $1 bill and moved to Zimbabwe, you would have been a billionaire. But unfortunately, at the time a loaf of bread cost 10.5 billion Zimbabwe dollars. Lightning is an electrostatic discharge that is supercharged from ionized air. Lightning always finds the fastest route to Earth. By releasing a massive bolt of electricity, lightning is hotter than the sun when it strikes. Lightning strikes Earth 8.6 million times a day. It helps in the production of ozone and nitrogen fixation. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and turn the notification bell on to be notified when we next post. Thanks for watching.